In order to place a camera inside of our building, there's a couple of ways we can go about doing that. We could just try zooming and rotating our view to try to get inside, but doing that is not the easiest way to do it. There's a much easier way. So if we were to take our scene so that we maybe temporarily hide our ceiling or roof if we have something like that, which I've done here, what you need to use is the PositionCamera tool. The PositionCamera tool is over here in the large tool set, and if you don't have the large tool set open, you can find it in the toolbar palettes under camera for people using the PC. On the Mac it's a little different, which is another reason why I have the large tool set open. Anyway, click on the icon that has the little figure with the red X underneath it. And in order to use this, there's two ways to use this tool. If you just click, it will place you in the scene at the approximate eye height, but also you'll notice that the cursor changes into an eye, which allows you to click and drag to change your scene as to what you're actually looking at, which is fine, but I would rather show you a little bit more precise way of using the PositionCamera tool. Let's say we know exactly where we want to stand in our space, and the thing that we want to look at is also something that we want to establish right away. If I click on the PositionCamera tool, what I do is I click where I want to stand and then click and drag in the direction that I want to look. So if I want to look exactly into the corner, I can just drag it in that direction. Be careful not to touch things that are not on the same plane as where you're standing, because it will then angle your view in that method. So just make sure that you're staying on the same plane that you started your click on, and let go, and you will now be looking in the right direction. The only thing that changes that is not desirable right now is, if you'll notice in the bottom corner, our eye height is set to whatever the level of the ground plane that you clicked on is. So we want to change our eye height to something a little bit more appropriate, say something like 5 foot or 5'6" or something like that. So if I type in 66, which is approximately 5'6" in inches, and then hit enter, my view angle, or my view height, sorry, is now set to a more appropriate level. And I'm now looking exactly in the direction that I wanted to look. I still have the eye cursor if I want to fine tune it a little bit. Let's say I want to see a little bit more of these windows and so on. But you'll notice if I drag up and down, it changes the view angle. And sometimes that's good, sometimes that's not desirable. If I want to make sure that my view is perfectly level, so that my corners of my room are vertical, or windows and things of that nature. So let's say I accidentally drag down like this, but I want to reset it. If I go up to camera and change the perspective to say 2-point perspective, it will align my camera so that I'm exactly parallel with the ground plane. Now, one other thing that you may need to adjust is if you're trying to place a camera in a small space, you might find that the view is really zoomed in on the corner, and you want to make sure that you get more of the room into your view. So if you can't back up anymore, what do? Well, the thing that you need to adjust after that is your field of view. And the way to do that is to click on the camera menu and go down to where it says field of view. And when I click on that, you'll notice I get a magnifying lens, which is a bit of a strange icon because it's different than the zoom tool, which is the exact same cursor. I wish they would come up with, even if they change the glass to a red color or something like that, that would make more sense. Anyway, it's the same icon, but there's a different result that happens. If you look in the bottom right hand corner, you'll notice that it says field of view 45 degrees. Whatever your default setting is, that value could be different, and it could be a much lower number, something like anything could be like 22 degrees or something like that. What this tool allows you to do is when you click and drag, you'll notice that as the number increases, the objects in the scene feel like they're getting stretched a little. And what's happening is basically you are changing your camera lens into a wider angle lens, which allows you to see more of the entire space. So I don't recommend allowing this number to go any higher than, say, 70 degrees, because what that's doing is that's changing your lens into too wide of an angle, and everything will look very strange. But something in the 60 to 70 range is a kind of a typical wide angle lens value. And in order to actually back up, what I recommend is using the walk tool instead of just zooming back. If we use the walk tool and click and drag downward, you'll notice that we're backing up. But the good thing about the walk tool is it won't let you go out through the wall. It'll stop when it hits the wall. And you'll see I've now hit the wall, even though I'm still trying to back up a little bit more. So that's the good thing of the walk tool. It won't let you go through the wall, which sometimes can be a very annoying thing. If you zoom out too far and you go through a wall, it's amazing how quickly you can go out of a wall, but to try and go back in, it seems like you're rolling your cursor for forever just to try to get back inside the room, and then suddenly you're flying into the space. So by having your camera first positioned using the PositionCamera Tool, fine-tuning the angle with the look around tool, and then using the walk tool to move closer or further from your scene, this is the best way to establish a view or a camera angle inside your scene. And then remember to keep that scene so that you can do something else and come back to it. If you have a scene tab already in your scene, you can right click on it and say add. If you don't have any established yet, you can go up to your view animation and add scene. Either way, it will allow you to create a tab. So that way, if you decide to go outside the building, and then you can quickly just click on that and it'll take you back into that view that you had a moment ago. So for setting up your daytime and nighttime rendering, I recommend using this tool in order to set the view up perfectly, because the other thing is you have to be sure that all of your walls and ceilings are intact, because I don't want to see any renderings where the window is or the walls are missing and you can't see what's going on in a natural way, because the sunlight is pouring in from the end of your building. So this is the easiest way to set up that scene. I hope that helps.